We're going to invite you...
This is only a phone call away, so dial now on 0990 66 44 36 for a free video and information pack. But don't delay, as apartment availability is limited.
When it comes to DIY, no task is too big for these people. Bob, Dean, and Joanne. They can make you build better than you did before. Better, stronger, faster.
Well, looks like you got a lot done.
The Bionic Builders, tomorrow from 2:30 on Discovery Home and Leisure.
If you have any thoughts, views, or suggestions you would like to make on Discovery Channel, please do contact us, either in writing or by telephone. We really do value your opinions. Our contact details are Discovery Channel, PO Box 846, Bristol, BS 99 5HR, United Kingdom. Telephone 0117 909 1221.
The Hanging Gardens of Babylon and San Francisco, the pyramids at Vegas and Giza. The 7 wonders of the world have fascinated mankind for thousands of years and inspired every generation. Discovery Channel explores the link between the ancient and modern concepts of wonder. A revelation, next Monday at 9 on Discovery Channel. The 7 wonders of the world.
Now on Discovery Channel, History's Turning Points recalls the television explosion.
In 1945, the first atomic bomb exploded over Hiroshima. The world heard by radio. 30 years later, man's first voyage to the moon was watched by 600 million people on live color television. In one generation, a television revolution changed our lives forever. In 1912, the Titanic, the world's first unsinkable ship, set sail from Southampton, destination New York. Captain Smith welcomed on board over 2,000 passengers, from millionaires to immigrants. The Titanic set sail on her maiden voyage across the Atlantic. 4 days later, and over 3,000 miles west, a young wireless operator called David Sarnoff manned his post in New York City. Just before midnight, he picked up an unexpected and terrifying message. SS Titanic ran into iceberg, sinking fast. In a terrible scramble for survival, there were just too few lifeboats. For 72 grueling hours, Sarnoff relayed the unfolding tragedy to a stunned world. Of more than 2,000 passengers, only a third survived. Sarnoff's dramatic reporting of the sinking of the Titanic was the start of a communications revolution that would change the world. Sarnoff would say later, the Titanic disaster brought radio to the front, and incidentally, me. David Sarnoff was born in Minsk, Russia, in 1891. He emigrated to America at the age of 9. Like thousands of others, he came in search of a new and better life. His first home was the crowded ghetto in the Lower East Side of New York City. It was a far cry from the America of his dreams. But with a determination and self-belief that was to stay with him throughout his life, Sarnoff was quick to escape from poverty. To help support his family, he found work, first selling newspapers on the crowded streets of Manhattan, and then as a messenger boy. By the age of 15, he had found himself a job that paid $5.50 a week. He became an office boy in a revolutionary company run by an Italian inventor, Guglielmo Marconi. Like Sarnoff, Marconi had started with only his dreams. But in the mid-1890s, he had pioneered the first radio wireless signaling system. He had freed communication from the wire. Here was a man Sarnoff could look up to. Sarnoff offered himself as Marconi's personal messenger. He taught himself Morse code, and within a year, he was promoted to junior wireless operator. Cleverly, he capitalized on his reporting of the Titanic disaster and pushed himself forward. He moved to the newly formed communications company, the Radio Corporation of America, in 1919, and was soon on the fast track up the management ladder. Sarnoff was a businessman, not a scientist, but he recognized that scientific invention was the key to commercial success. He met with many great scientists, even the great Einstein. He saw the potential of the wireless was untapped, more than just inform. It could also entertain. In 1 year, RCA grossed $11 million in radio sales.
London, David Sarnoff speaking.
In town and country, everyone tuned in to the new sounds. The world was captivated by the new technology. By the late 1920s, radio ruled supreme, and Sarnoff was its king. Sarnoff was now manager of the largest communication manufacturer in the world, RCA, and its programming subsidiary, NBC. He was now a powerful man, and he saw that radio was only the tip of the communications iceberg. The powerful radio industry was reluctant to share its success, but Sarnoff had in mind a greater plan. If sound could reach a mass audience, why not pictures too?
Won't you listen? Won't you see me? No more Bill winked his eye as he heard her cry. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She cried the whole day long. I'll do the cooking, honey. I'll pay the rent. I know that's done.
When he heard of the new experiments of seeing by wireless, he decided to commit his energy and funds into a new, untested invention. He set out to convert his vast radio audience into an even greater television one. He was about to embark on the greatest gamble of his life. Europe was forging ahead with the new invention of television, a mechanical system of instantaneous radio pictures based on a spinning wheel. It was pioneered by the Scotsman John Logie Baird, who had successfully demonstrated his televisor in London in 1926. Although the system did work and was adopted around Europe, the equipment was unwieldy, the quality of the pictures transmitted was poor, and reception was variable. Nonetheless, television was becoming a reality and attracting worldwide attention. In New York City, the inventor Charles Jenkins was broadcasting a television hour from Fifth Avenue 3 times a week to a small but dedicated fan club. NBC experimented with a new mechanical method, but Sarnoff knew he needed a better system before he could mass market television and produce a better picture before he could seduce the revenue of the advertising giants. Then, in January 1929, Sarnoff received an unexpected visit from a stranger. He lay before Sarnoff the answer he had been looking for. With nothing but theory and conviction to argue his case, the stranger told Sarnoff that he could deliver a marketable electronic television system within 2 years. A Russian immigrant like Sarnoff, the scientist was Vladimir Zworykin. He said that all he needed was $100,000. Sarnoff immediately agreed to give Zworykin the support he needed, and they forged a business relationship. That very year, a terrible depression swamped America. As the jobless mounted and RCA stock plummeted to 1/5 of its value in a month, Sarnoff was true to his word. Despite the huge financial risk, he protected Zworykin and his team of scientists. Now president of RCA, Sarnoff poured in resources to fund one of the biggest commercial scientific developments in history. $50 million later, Sarnoff would remark, Zworykin was not only a great inventor, he was also the greatest salesman in history. He put a price tag of $100,000 on television, and I bought it. There were many obstacles in Sarnoff's way. The inventor, Howard Armstrong, wanted to reserve essential radio frequencies for his new invention, FM radio, while a young Mormon inventor called Philo Farnsworth held the vital patent for an electronic image scanner.
Can you get me through to Mrs. Dawkins?
Wherever he encountered opposition, Sarnoff was ruthless. He used his massive legal and financial muscle to take full advantage of his competitors' inventions while effectively pushing them to the sidelines. Sarnoff also took on the government regulatory body, the FCC, fighting to make sure that any national standard of television reception was compatible with his RCA equipment. He lobbied aggressively for 12 years. By the mid-1930s, Europe was ahead of America in the race for television. The British Broadcasting Corporation at Alexandra Palace finally chose the electronic EMI system over Baird's mechanical and began broadcasting in 1936. By the end of that year, Britain, France, and Germany all ran regular television services. But in continental Europe, television was run by governments or post offices, not businessmen. As yet, there was no competitive service in the world. Sarnoff was determined to be there first. He held regular test transmissions from the top of the Empire State Building. Finally, in 1938, 9 years after his first meeting with Sarnoff, Zworykin delivered his promise, a marketable electronic television system. Sarnoff was delighted. He was one step nearer his dream. He realized that his new creation needed a spectacular launch that would attract publicity, advertising, and sales. He chose the World's Fair in Flushing Meadows, New York, in April 1939. Roosevelt was the first president to be televised.
I hereby dedicate the World's Fair, the New York World's Fair of 1939, and I declare it open to all mankind.
Standing outside the new RCA building in Flushing Meadows, Sarnoff announced, "Now we add radio sight to sound. It is with a feeling of humbleness that I announce the birth in this country of a new art, so important that it is bound to affect all society." He displayed futuristic television sets to whet consumer appetite, but sets cost between $125 and $1,000. Unlike radio, they were a luxury few could afford. Sarnoff's dream of television in every home was soon overtaken by world events. Within a year, most people had forgotten about the World's Fair and television. For the next 6 years, a bloody fight for democracy took center stage. Hitler took over the airwaves in France and Germany for Nazi propaganda. It looked as though television would become the big brother of tyranny.
This is the beginning of the golden hour, within which victims must receive medical attention if they are to have any chance of survival. But with growing city congestion, the golden hour is shrinking fast. Enter the helicopter emergency medical squad, taking the doctors straight to the scene and saving vital minutes getting the injured back to hospital.
On the trolley and up the road, eh?
A Discovery showcase, Sunday from 8, the golden hour.
Now, this is a box camera. How it works is the light goes in the hole there, and then it goes onto a paper, special paper inside. Now, this paper I'm going to take to the chemist, and the chemist develops it, it puts it onto a negative, and he prints the pictures from that.
With this camera, the light goes into the hole and you get a picture.
Sanyo Digicam, what the world's coming to.
Okay?
What do Greg Norman and over 50,000 other golfers have in common? They've discovered one of golf's best-kept secrets.
That's Greg Norman's secret, the most fundamentally sound trading aid I've ever seen. If it wasn't, I wouldn't put my name to it.
Greg Norman's secret could help you take strokes off your game.
The first time I put the secret on, it not only helped me with my putting and my chipping, but it helped me with my bunker play, it helped me with my 7-iron shots, my long iron shots, and even my driving.
You can use Greg Norman's secret at the practice range, at home, or use it to warm up before your play, to memorize and master that smooth, consistent golf swing for greater accuracy and lower scores. When you order this training aid, you'll also receive Greg Norman's instructional video with stroke-saving tips from Greg that will put you on a fast track to lower scores. And remember, if you're not completely satisfied with the product, you can return it to us within 30 days for a refund of the purchase price, less postage and packing.
Mankind is under threat. From silent, invisible enemies. They come in many different forms, but they always attack from the inside. Can science save us from the killer viruses? Outbreak, tomorrow at 10 on Discovery Channel.
The end of World War II opened a new chapter in the communications revolution. During the war, Sarnoff had served as Brigadier General in charge of communications. He had contributed enormously to the developments of electronic warfare, such as radar. Now, he had the technology to produce affordable television sets with high-quality reception. He quickly manned factory lines. The time had come to fulfill his dream of a television set in every home. Drove production forward, mass-producing television sets and selling them across America. This time, his timing was right. With the Depression and war now in the past, people were hungry for luxury, food, clothes, and diversion. America started to spend and didn't stop. At first curious, the novelty of instantaneous pictures in the home soon caught the imagination of the nation. Customers were attracted by the variety of sets offered. In 1946, only 10,000 sets were sold in America. 3 years later, the figure was 2 million. Within 10 years, 73% of American homes had a television set. In response to the boom in sales, programmers strove to keep up. As technology and expertise developed, a new art form emerged.
Now roll into a close-up of the string section. Now pan across the orchestra from the brass to the strings. Now back to your original position and pan over to include the conductor.
In 1953, over 220 million people worldwide watched the coronation of Queen Elizabeth.
Beside her in the gilt coach is her sailor husband, Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. A roar goes up from the throngs along the Mall, decorated with ornate arches.
Inside the ancient
BBC telerecordings were flown across the Atlantic.
guests, the Archbishop lowers the 5-pound symbol of might and power, and as he places it upon the Queen's head and removes his hands, the assemblage in one voice cries, "God save the Queen."
They did hear me.
TV ratings now exceeded those of radio.
Where's my gun?
The limitations of radio were now there for all to see.
Chris, you're hurt badly.
Is Chris badly hurt? Is he really done for?
Television, which had been a pre-war luxury, was now an American necessity. For Sarnoff, his gamble had paid off. He had staked everything on his gut instinct and won. With Zorkin at his side, he watched his RCA profits soar. But even Sarnoff could not have imagined the true nature of the creature he had released to the world. Traveling salesman had been an essential part of America. But the days of the door-to-door tradesman were numbered. There was a rival tradesman in town.
Good morning, ma'am. Permit me to introduce myself. My name is Charles Spencer. I represent the Pennsylvania Trading Company.
With the boom in television sales, advertisers now had instant entry to the home. And emerging multinational manufacturing companies soon had unprecedented access to the eyes and ears of the nation.
Maxwell House Coffee presents Mama, starring Peggy Wood. Yes, here's Mama, brought to you by Maxwell House Coffee, the richer, mellower blend. Already a favorite in Mama's time, today more people buy and enjoy Maxwell House.
Advertisers soon saw the power of the new box. Ads cost $4 a minute. Many were live, and sometimes required skillful improvisation.
Yes. Somebody's playing games. Well, ordinarily, it's completely automatic. There's never anything that you have to do. And the secret is inside here. Yes. I think we've left off the current. At any rate, inside, there is a magic counter button. And remember, you can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
Advertising revenue rose sharply, from $12 million in 1949 to $300 million in 1952.
Good evening. This is Ed Hurley speaking for the Kraft Foods Company, the makers of the world's favorite cheese.
Programs were increasingly influenced by advertisers and the all-important ratings.
Questions, Bill Slater.
Now he's not going to drink any more coffee.
Ladies and gentlemen, We take pride in presenting at this time His Excellency Bishop Fulton J. Sheen in Life is Worth Living.
Friends. The Guiding Light, presented by Ivory Soap, the most famous soap.
Good morning. How are you this morning? Is it cold outside?
A fierce battle waged for the hearts, minds, and pockets of the vast television audience.
Here we go.
There were cries that television was chewing gum for the eyes, a vast wasteland. But it was too late. Commercial television had taken root. Television advertising offered people the American dream. And in shopping malls and supermarkets across the country, people were buying it up in bulk.
You like Guyton, I like Guyton, everybody likes Guyton for president. Hang up the banners, beat the drum, we'll take Guyton to Washington.
Soon, politicians learned the skill of selling on television. Eisenhower first enlisted advertising in his presidential campaign of 1952. His opponent, Adlai Stevenson, was uncomfortable with the medium. He lost the election. A salesman's smile was soon a political necessity. Against the nervous pallor of his opponent Nixon, Kennedy wooed the nation with a single look. All those who listened to the debate on radio thought Nixon had won. But those who saw Kennedy in action were in no doubt that he would be the next president of America. By the end of Kennedy's reign, TV was the dominant medium. General Sarnoff, now a wealthy senior pillar of American society, witnessed the revolution of television. Like thousands of others, he watched as television brought the Vietnam War into the living room. And he witnessed the fulfillment of Kennedy's dream of man's first steps on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Live in color, panoramic sound. RCA Victor, big color.
He saw his own vision fulfilled with the successful introduction of compatible color television. Thanks to his aggressive promotion, he saw RCA climb to the top of the communications ladder. For Sarnoff, the American dream had come true. As President Johnson said of Sarnoff,
no one better illustrates the genius of America. His rise from immigrant boy to industrial statesman is an inspiring record. David Sarnoff.
soon every face, every event, and every tragedy could be seen by everyone at the same moment. Our world would never be the same again.
Enter a